Welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you got myself, Captain Coop, and we have our wonderful, illustrious Chief of Security, Josh Leon. So thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
Major McFarland is not here. He had to take care of some personal stuff, so he is doing that because that's what we want to make sure that we focus on, always family first, because we care about each other and we want to make sure everybody's safe. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about how the security industry evolves and how some places will take that and run with it with like camera monitoring and little items like that. Recently, we're starting to see more and more camera systems used in monitoring aspect for theft and department stores or grocery stores and things like that. I was sent a wonderful little article about a company who is using a monitoring system very similar to the camera monitor systems we use for our dispatch side, but much smaller. So we use a very large one that has a couple of cameras, a 120 20 decibel bullhorn on it and stuff like that. And there's a company across the seas in the UK that has decided to make a much smaller version of that, and they're using it in a department store right now, and it's kind of caused a little bit of outcry about it being invasive. And so I wanted to bring the chief on and have a little conversation about that and just kind of see where we're at. So the article itself, and I'll pull it up here for you guys to see it, and welcome everybody, by the way. Brian, thank you for joining us. Dylan, I see you there. Connor's already making comments about being an angry bald man. Kay Bowers, thank you.
Connor's had a day. He's pushed me to the brink. So you coming to get me for the podcast is probably the best thing that could have happened.
I was trying to think of his health and safety.
Yeah.
That whole thinking of family thing.
Well, I can't start drinking alcohol for a little while, so I thought maybe that taking a break from Connor making me nuts. I just don't know why I employ him, but I do. This is. Did you want me to go ahead and comment on?
Yeah,
on
absolutely. So I'm going to pull the article
Yeah.
up real quick, and then I'll make the screen larger so we can kind of see the article itself.
So as he's pulling that up, everybody, this has been going on for years. It's kind of a rite of passage for Leon men and my family to. We get divorced a lot, and so you have to work off-duty jobs as a police officer. And my dad, myself, both worked for a pretty well-known department store in our careers, in our off-duty gigs as police officers. Those department stores, they didn't want to be a Target. They didn't want to be a Walmart and have things just on like racks and things like that. And so they wanted a feeling of a nicer experience when you're shopping. And so in some of the high-priced areas, purses and things like that, I remember being and watching the evolution of that to where you would have $400 or $500 purses sitting out for people to look at, but they just started
They go missing.
Yeah, they go missing pretty quick. And so they started doing things such as alarming them and
putting tag alarms on.
Tag alarms.
Yeah.
They're little locks, and they would lock them to leather jackets. They would do that
Seen
with.
that.
Yeah, same thing. And I even remember, not even so much when you were talking about in the article that people feel like it's intrusive and kind of hurts the experience. And that was the customer side of things. But I even remember department store managers not liking it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, even though that they were facing the loss, of the theft, they didn't like things being locked up. I kind of equate the same thing to one of our potential clients, and they just don't know if they want an armed presence because of the look. They don't like the look of it.
And that's something I never thought about. I thought about it from our standpoint being security and then being the customer side, but I never actually thought about like the manager or the employee side of it.
Because they want the customer, they want the shopper to have an experience.
Yeah.
And so they want that to be an experience for them. And now as we're seeing, everybody is trying to think of ways, whether it is drones, whether it is those type of systems that you were pointing. I think Brian sent you the article.
He did.
It's things like that are adjustments people are making. When it comes to the camera stuff, I noticed this as a police officer when we first started testifying in court with our in-car cameras. Attorneys started questioning us if I was in a unit that didn't have the in-car camera working, if it was malfunctioning.
Why did you have the
Why
unit?
did you not have it? And why were you not supplying footage? Why were you not? What are you trying to hide? So cameras, not only are stores, everybody, property owners, us, everyone are facing the need for cameras. It's you want them to protect your property, but you also need them.
Yeah.
You know,
With the way everything's kind of evolved, it's become a necessity to have them.
Sure. So there's a story, and I'm going to keep this as vague as possible, but there was a story of a workplace injury, and we ended up investigating the workplace injury by pulling camera, and what we found during that investigation is that it was self-inflicted and on purpose. And so it's almost, I understand people's wants for personal liberties. I am a strong believer in personal liberties. That's different than when you walk into somebody's store. That's different when you walk into somebody's business and things like that. And so I see both sides. I see not wanting to feel like you're under a microscope when you're, when you're participating in business in somebody's store. But you also have to see the side of not just the store owners, property owners protecting themselves from the theft or the criminal damage to property, but also protecting themselves from somebody on a slip and fall or things like that, and having the footage of those types of things to protect themselves. We're just in a highly litigious society, and people are quick to cry foul and look for attorneys and to get attorneys involved to right how they feel they've been wronged. And so that's fine if we're going to go with that mindset as a society. But we have to understand that lever is going to be met with store owners, property management protecting themselves.
Right.
Yeah. And so every time that we hit that number of litigation, we're also hitting a number of probably a little bit of loss of personal liberties when you're out moving around society.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where that comes off to me. I think, historically, casinos are always going to be your most heavily
monitored
areas and stuff like that. Yeah, I just think you're going to that's just going to be the norm.
I think it's going
to.
I agree. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see the evolution of that to where they've got 50 cameras in a store where it's watching everything that everybody does for that exact reason. Protection of life, making sure for slip and falls, protection of property and valuables and stuff. I think that's just kind of where we're going.
Even just a few years ago, you and I, if we were going on a bank run, we would fully expect to have every camera they used to call the eye of God, every camera in the world when we walk into a bank. We probably wouldn't expect that if we went to a Science City, if we went to a Sky Zone and stuff, but
the way it's going,
everybody has camera systems like that, and those recreational places and stuff, because you have the liability of people getting hurt, lost children, things like that, and it's turned into where the more question that a property owner or a business owner is going to face is, why didn't you have cameras?
Right.
I'm sure fire suppression systems were a pretty neat state-of-the-art thing that not everybody had for a while, and now it would be, can you imagine a bad fire? Where you didn't have those suppression systems?
Why did you build a building without it?
Why didn't you have it? And so that's how that pendulum swings, and it's going to go one way, it's going to come back the other, and it's going to be met with that type of response. And so I think that's in everything we do.
So you're thinking that these RoboCops that I'll put back up here for everybody, this little guy here,
it's become a slang term, Coop. I just learned this in my visits to the St. Louis market that we're getting our footprint in, that I was talking to property managers, and it's a slang term now. They go, we got a Sky Cop right there. We got a Sky Cop up over here. Yeah, we got a Sky Cop over here. And those camera systems are ran by St. Louis PD.
Yeah.
But it's an everyday thing now. And, I was at I would go ahead and say a very, very volatile area in St. Louis, an apartment complex that I was at. And I was going to say some things about some camera analytics that I have very, very little knowledge of, but I've learned enough.
You've heard a little bit of it.
I've heard enough to bring it up. And the lady kind of looked at me and smiled at me, and she said, "Oh, we have gun analytics on every single camera in this facility."
Oh, wow.
They're that because
and it's that readily available, and that wow.
Yeah, it's becoming a very commonplace.
Yeah, I will be honest. I was actually going to ask if you had seen anything, or if that was a discussion that you had with any of the clients in St. Louis, because like we said, this is becoming a more normalized thing, especially at least where we are. where they're throwing these cameras up and they're having analytics on them for fight detection, gun detection, and things like that, loitering detection, and making sure.
I think the big thing that we've learned is if you and I are known felons, and our job is being felons, we commit crimes. That's what we do. I think that we have learned is cameras just aren't enough because felons probably aren't going to care that much time on camera. Yeah, you got a million pictures.
It's great for deterrent. I heard an old adage.
What we've learned is you need both. Yeah. You need
have to have
a
that
human response.
Yep.
Yeah, you're already there. Yeah.
Somebody once told me a long time ago, and I can't remember who it was, and I'm going to say it was my dad because I think that's who it was. But a lock will only keep an honest person honest.
Absolutely.
A camera will only keep an honest person honest. Yeah. For those who have made the decision that is their life, crime is what they're going to do. A camera doesn't really mean anything to them. It just means, cool, I'm going to have to be recorded, but you're still not going to catch me.
Right, and the thing is
dual attachment to it with having the human interaction and the human response. That's the piece that ties it all together.
Yeah, and the thing is casinos have been far and way ahead of everybody else when it comes to cameras, and there's crimes that go on in casinos all the time.
All the time. You'll still get fights and theft and everything at
or
casinos
the attempt to just fool a dealer, or a dealer trying to fool a pit boss, and those things happen. And so what we've really had to learn is it does take both. Yep. It's going to take both. There's some very specific things that that just needs a camera. Maybe it's a certain entry door or something like that that maybe you could get away with that on. But when you're talking about the overall protection of theft, disturbances, robberies, and things like that, people have been knocking over convenience stores forever and ever, and they've had cameras forever and ever, and they're going to keep knocking them over. And so, that's just that's
physical response is key.
Yeah, you got to have that physical response.
So let me know what you guys think. I know I saw Brian set up in there. What do you guys think about, personally, what do you guys think about the RoboCops that are starting to appear more and more in stores and things like that? And like I said, I know Walmart's been doing it, and there's a couple of other places that do it where their HBC aisles or their liquor aisles, they'll have a little camera that's up on the top corner, and it just watches the whole thing. And I mean, realistically, that's what that RoboCop is it's just it's a bigger version of that with a siren on it.
Sure.
So, let me know what you guys think. We have Dylan asking what Chief's favorite drink is from your comment earlier. I bet I can guess.
It's changed.
It's thrown me for a loop.
Well, I'm becoming that weirdo that changes what he drinks by the season.
Oh no, you're turning into McFarlane.
Yeah, I'm a little weird. Myself and my old man, we really like a Guinness. It's a great, especially this time of year. In summertime, I like more of a Mexican beer. That's more my style. As far as a drink, like an actual cocktail, I'm a big Irish whiskey guy, or I do this little concoction that I make that's just ice water, 1 shot of vodka, and a few jalapenos and a few limes in it, and I find that
that sounds like a Leon drink.
Yeah, that one is that's one of my favorites. But I'm a big fan.
Well, good. Fantastic. So, I mean, this is going to start to be a more, normalized thing that we see more often, I think. And I think we just need to come to the realization.
Can you imagine? Can you even fathom what Connor Osis is doing to my office right now? I mean,
I can, but I mean, it's all speculation until we get back.
The terms monkey and monkey crap come to mind. Him just throwing
everything everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, didn't he take your pens, unscrew them, and take out the ink cartridges and turn them all around?
Everybody's got a couple of pens on their desk, and every pen I went to pick up fell apart in my hands. You pick up another one, it fell apart in my hands. Pick up another one, it fell apart in my hands. So then he stole my mouse from my computer. At one point, he was screwing with me so much that I told him that Ryan Smith is going to fire me for my lack of output today because of Connor kidnapping me, and he just wouldn't. He has
kept going.
He just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the Energizer Bunny when he does that. He just goes and goes.
Took
and goes.
one of my shoes.
I know. He brought it to me.
Yeah. He took one of my shoes.
He set it on my desk. And I was like, I don't want to be part of this.
And I have a standing desk, so everybody would be like, well, how they take one of your shoes when you have a standing desk? Well, I take a few minutes every once in a while and go sit down instead of stand.
Did you take your shoe off, or did you just walk up and rip it off your foot?
He was standing outside my door. and I have my legs crossed, so my foot is over here, you know, kind of hanging by the entrance or the threshold of my door, and the little elf just comes in and takes it and just runs off with my shoe, and it's, you know, for a security company, I can't even secure a shoe, and so I really got to start doing, you know, reflecting on my life and my life's work and realizing that I am a complete failure because I can't even secure my own footwear.
Well, that's Connor, though.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Connor.
This is way dating me. And is there anybody old like me on?
Possibly. I can't say.
Nobody's gonna know this. Anyways, there's an old Looney Tunes reel with where Bugs Bunny is in, I think, a B-25, like my grandpa flew or something like that. It's a World War II. And there's a little gremlin that messes with Bugs the entire time. And that's Connor. He is just a gremlin, man.
Would it make you feel any better if I told you I know exactly what you're referencing?
That's great. Yeah, because that one
Connor.
dates me. Yeah, that's Connor. Yeah, he's a lot.
Let's see. Trevon says it's alcoholic jalapeno juice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Footwear insecurity confirmed.
Yeah, no.
Dakota says you need a shoe cop.
Yeah, instead of a sky cop.
You know what we need to do? Get you a bike lock for him?
Yeah, just a little bit of locks on my shoes.
Like the gun locks. Just put a gun lock through your
I'm
laces.
sitting there walking down the hall missing a shoe, and I'm like, you can't take an old man's shoe. Yeah,
like,
and it gives me this
up and down
limp. And I'm like, dude, you can't take my shoes.
Connor says don't care.
Yeah, I know he doesn't care. That's fine.
We need a virtual officer in Leon's office from Brian.
Yeah, we probably we couldn't
make that public.
No, we couldn't make that public.
No, we'd never be on the air
Sound
again.
like a good idea for a second, but no, nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to see my rage. Yeah, that's
McFarlane's the only one we subjugate to that.
Yeah, he does fantastic. He absolutely will help suppress me and keep me under control.
I think, you know, what's funny is I think for as much grief or gremlinness that Connor does to you, I think that helps as well. Because it allows you to kind of like take a little bit out on him.
It does, yeah.
That makes you feel better. Because I always see you smile after he does it.
He
I
does,
I think it's because you know that it's entertaining.
He does. He, you know, he's got one over on me though, because he'll look at me and say, well, if you loved me, you would let me take your shoes.
And then you just sit there and let him
take my shoes because I love them.
We have someone saying you should hire somebody to follow Roses around and just start saying he's up to something.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is when McFarlane's not here, Shaughnessy takes over his desk, and so Brendan's sitting there next to me, and Brendan let all of this stuff happen as well. And I said, "Some security professional you are. Didn't I just promote you? You know,
this is the same one that we recorded. You know, running into a door, isn't it?
Yeah. You guys have all seen Brendan's, situational
awareness.
Yeah.
See, that goes the line right there.
He's too busy looking buff. He's too busy looking like this. You know, he's not defeated like I am, just kind of like this right now. He's just too busy looking like this.
Brian's trying to make us go professional again. He says, what are the pros and cons of the RoboCop?
Your pros are going to be that you have the footage, that you have the footage, and the number one, the deterrence. You know, hopefully it makes people think twice about doing something like, you know, doing something they shouldn't be doing. You know, so those are going to be your pros. After that, it kind of goes away. And the thing is I mean, you got the footage, you got the liability coverage. So, you know, if somebody was a spill or a fall, or if somebody's faking a fall or things like that, so you got those things, yeah. But after that, it kind of goes away. Then you need an officer. You need somebody, a physical response, and you know, because people do bad stuff on camera all the time. Homicides have been committed on camera. You know, people do bad
Cameras
stuff.
don't stop it.
They don't stop it when you have somebody motivated enough to do it. And so then you need that physical response. Schools did it for years. As schools were like, we're going to go with metal detectors, we're going to go with cameras. And now it's pretty much every school that you shake a stick at is going to have an armed officer.
The SRO officer.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is my school, growing up, my high school, we opted out of the metal detectors. We opted out of all the cameras.
Sure.
They went with 2 security guards and 2 SROs.
Yeah.
Right off the back. And we were in the middle of the nowhere.
Yeah.
And so I think you'll see they're upping the cameras, and they're having cameras in all the hallways, and I think that you'll start to see some of these areas like you do with security, instead of just seeing cameras, you're going to start seeing
It's been an old term
posted people there.
for a long time. The police department is just one spoke in the wheel of the criminal justice system. Cameras is one spoke in the wheel of security. I mean, it just is. There are other things that have to be accounted for that a camera cannot do. Now, man, with the technology they're coming up with, sooner or later we're going to be in Skynet. And
Someone mentioned that too.
And that
Someone said I actually welcome my new Skynet overlords.
Yeah. What is today's date? On 1/12/2024, Skynet became self-aware. So and it became aware that Conor Rosas is doing bad things in Leon's office is what's probably going on. But no, I just think it's one spoke, and it's an important spoke. I'm not in any way trying to.
No, cameras are absolutely
very
important.
vital.
Yes,
they're vital. I would even use that word. Yes.
We have a client, and I'm going to be as same with you as vague as possible, that we actually just went to a meeting with, and they've got an extremely large property, and they were discussing, what's the best way to secure the property. And, the human response is great, and, you can put 50 people out there, but 50 people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Whereas you can put cameras on the eye lines, on the perimeters, and say, hey, put the analytics on for loitering, fighting, and all these other things. And when someone crosses that barrier, then you have the human response to go verify if that person's supposed to be there.
That
cameras are it's so important to that. You can have the 50 people, but if you don't have them paying attention to every waking second, you're going to miss something.
Absolutely
that
happened with
piece adds
us.
that in.
Absolutely happened with us. Used to be that we would run a perimeter, and so I've got you at one corner of 9-5 and Metcalf, me at this other side at 9-5, and whatever, and then we get 4 or 5 officers around this perimeter, and then we run a dog, and we're running a dog, and they're looking for the bad guy. Well, and then we got a little bit more advanced. So then you had a helicopter with FLIR, you just had a helicopter with a spot and stuff like that, and so we got more advanced than that. And now you're doing where you're having perimeters with police officers. They're opening up a trunk, pulling out a drone, and they're
sending the drone off.
throwing that drone over inside that perimeter. So it's all. I mean, the Jetsons is here. We're getting there.
We're getting there for sure.
Yeah, and so. But at the same time, the president of the company brought it up, or no, it was, I think it might have been Jennifer. It was one of our all hands meetings or something like that, where they said, but those same drones that we're going to use to protect things are also going to be used to defeat us. And that's already being done.
Yeah.
It's being used to drop things into prisons, being used for surveillance for a robbery attempt, things like that. And so all that stuff's happening. And we're just, technology is moving so fast, we're just trying to keep up with it. I'm still a big human guy, and I think human beings deterring bad stuff is the best thing.
I don't think you'll ever, in what we do when it comes to law enforcement, security, or anything like that, I don't think you'll ever get away from the human part of it.
Yeah.
You'll get to probably a part where you rely heavily on the cameras, drones, or whatever it is, the RoboCops or Sky Cops.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be a need for that human interaction at the end of it. You're always going to need that.
Sure.
So, other than that, I don't really have anything else. Brian, you're pretty good about popping up some questions if you want to. We're going to go into weather here for now. So we're going to dive into what that looks like. Right. What we're looking at for the weekend is 6 degrees on Saturday, 0 degrees on Sunday. Monday, we're looking at 4. Tuesday at 11, Wednesday 29, Thursday 22, Friday 15, and Saturday looking at 20 degrees.
Guys, this is just no joke here. This is just no. I mean, if you're outside, every inch of skin needs to be covered.
Yes.
I mean, this is so dangerous. I know our partners who are helping the homeless community right now are scrambling, trying to do every single thing that they can, get everything open that they can, as many beds as they can. We are sending out resources to our officers if we see somebody walking down the street in this weather, if we see stop, just stop and tell them, hey, that this place is open right down here. You got to get out of this weather. But please watch out for your fellow human beings out there. Watch out for yourselves. Watch out for your fellow officers. This is just dangerous, cold, and take care of each other out there. That's just a great concern of mine. I want everybody to be safe out there, and don't let these elements get you. And if anybody is going to that Chiefs game, yeah, please.
And you're brave. I'll give you that. You're brave.
Make good decisions, because that's going to be brutal out there tomorrow night. So
is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow at 7. Oof. Yeah, so it's
going to be freezing cold tomorrow,
guys. It's going to be a tough one. It's they last little news flash I saw. It's got a chance to be the 5th coldest game on history in the history of the NFL. Yeah,
wow.
So it's going to be right there. So
when you guys are on post or when you're not on post, if you guys are outside, please bundle up, take care of yourselves, stay as warm as possible. Please please, guys, remember that it is freezing cold out there, and it is a very quick way to put yourself in a very bad position. So please be safe when you guys are out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Make sure you're looking out for that.
Don't you got some hydration thing that you say?
Why do you guys always not let me get to it on my own?
I'm sorry.
Every time.
Why am I telling you I'm sorry? Hydration begins the night before, right?
The day before.
The day before.
Remember, hydration is key. Hydration is the day before, not the day of.
This is why everybody busts your chops about it, because it's annoying. Drink water.
We appreciate it, guys. Enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for everything you do. It allows us to continue to do stuff like this, and for me to drag him on and have him make fun of me and me make fun of him, and for him to hurt me when we leave. So we thank you guys so much. I'm kidding, by the way. We appreciate it, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe.
Stay warm.